Hello, welcome to a new live stream. My name is John Skippy Limcool. I want to just play for a minute. I'm going to have some fun with some of these new things I've been making. I've been putting drum loops and drum samples into Omnisphere for the Signs of Life library. And here's some of the results. So I can get... let me get the keyboard up so you can see what I'm playing, because it's always easier that way. So go plug in Guru, MIDI effects, show MIDI. Oh, we don't want to make it disappear. I should have done this just before we started, but I didn't. Sorry. So we go like that. Now we can open up Omnisphere on top and bring it over here. Oh my, and the keyboard's not quite the right layout, so we gotta go right here and shrink it and all that stuff. All right. This goes for a while. I have to show 5 controllers. Then I have these environmental sounds with processing. I have a cool bass and a drum groove. So here's the drum groove. And that's a synth created snare sound. So this is one of the grooves. There's so much to show you guys. This last week, good grief, my daughter graduated from high school. That was a pretty big deal. Lots of family in town, stuff like that. Went to the beach for the day with her and my mom and dad for a little getaway. And then here at work, I decided I wanted to add something else to Signs of Life, and I decided to add drum loops because I love rhythm and I love working with rhythm, and I could further flesh out kind of the ideas that I have with these grooves and stuff. And so, let's see, make sure that's like that. See if you guys are here. Yes. Greetings, everybody. I'm looking at the chat for the first time. Yeah, the library took a big turn. It's got some really cool capabilities. I'll show you the loops. A big part of today is we're going to put drum samples into Omnisphere. I'll show you step by step how to do it. What that means, what you can do with that is really exciting. So greetings to all. So here's one of the drum loops. Using granular to play it. So this is one of the grooves. My gosh, Big Bottom Bossa came out cool. dissect things pretty cool. Deep Thoughts. This is cool. This is a rather different kind of groove. Signs of Life is coming out on the 13th. Really soon. So there's a lot of cool stuff in these sounds. It's all upbeats. It's hard to do that as a drum loop and then to get the timing right so it would play in sync right. But got it working. Go and go. So the drum loops, let me show you, let's initialize this real quickly. Over here on the patch page, you will see down here drums. There's Tantra, The Balanced Chair, Bossa Bossa, Island Vacation, and Jam Road. Those are the grooves. Now, for the first 2 weeks, I'm working on a drum loop library that will be coming out. So for the first 2 weeks that this library will be out, there will be additional drum loops and drums, well, all the samples. I'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to include them all or not. But the there's actually more. There's small mixes. There's more breakdowns. I just have full mixes and breakdowns. As you can see here, the full mixes and breakdowns. There's small mixes. There's alternate full mixes to these grooves that are included as wave files as a bonus for the first 2 weeks when this library comes out. All of the drum samples, I have pulled them all out and made them separate and available. And those will also be available for 2 weeks. And then they're not going to be available after that. When you get the library, it'll just be the grooves in Omnisphere. But you can, let's say that we play Tantra Dance. So let's go over here to the loops. Tantra Dance. Here, full mix. Let's bring this into Omnisphere, or actually into Logic, so you can hear it. Here's full width audio, what it sounds like. Okay. So here is what it sounds like inside of Omnisphere. Pretty much the same. I honed my granular settings so that it's really nice the way it plays. And I can go to tempo, speed it up. You also have the breakdown. Okay, here's the balance chair. Breakdown. Oh wait, Bossa Bossa is not it, right? These are really fun to play with because you could take this and really easily just go to noise, turn it down because it's going to be really loud. Right click and modulate this with an LFO, set the speed legato, sync it. Let's just say pulse really quick, say eighth notes. and it plays in time. Right? So it's pretty cool. They're totally locked. Bassa Bassa. And to get that kick to snap like that inside of a granular engine took some work, but I did it. It's got a great sound to it. And again, if you break it apart, we're still playing with the synthesizer here, right? And then the breakdown. And then Island Vacation. And the breakdown. Jam Road. And if you go to multi-mode and you go to stack, and you go to other patches, let's go to part 2 and say, let's add a Lutherian sync. Let's go here and add a bass. Right? So it's totally locked up. Everything works really well together. So it's really fun. You can even go to another drum groove. So I'm adding. Right? So it all works together. It's really fun. Now, I'll show you real quickly the bonus sounds, the drum sounds. So if we call up an ESX24 really quick, go ESX24. And we go over here, and you can't do this in Omnisphere because we don't have that many sample locations. We can only do up to 8, but if we go edit, let's say new instrument, and let's take all those drum sounds. There's let's see. No, that's the grooves. So let's go back one, go to drum hits. There's 46 drum sounds. So if we drag these in and say continuous starting on C0. So all the drum sounds with the ambience, everything from the loops. So I can, in theory, recreate the... Right? So those will all be included in the bonus content. Oh wait, don't close. Cancel. Oh wait, I don't want to say that. Right. Don't save. That's just for ESX24. I thought it was going to close the whole song. I'm like, no, don't do that. So we're going to look at, we want to add some drum sounds to this. And I've gone through and pulled out, let's do this. Let's call up another ESX24 and go to this map and say we want to take these 13 drum sounds. I'm going to play them first here so you can hear them. Some cymbals. Some cymbals, some voicings. I thought that'd be cool for some sort of a cool vibe. These are vocal bits from Super Macho Drums. I have at the end of the list, actually it's part of the Mega Macho Drums, but I did a thing where I pitch corrected all of these vocal samples to pitch. It's a really cool kit. If you haven't seen this, if you have Super Macho Drums, these are really fun to play with. If you go to Contact, and you go over here to Super Macho Drums, to the Mega Macho Drums folder, and at the end of the list, way down here, you're going to see these Vox pitch bits, female and male. And these are a whole bunch of samples that. Come back here. So you could tune the whole thing up. Oh, wait. Let's go global, so I tune them all up. And there's a male set as well, which is guys. Right? So if we're going to put these into Omnisphere, you need to take these and tell it what those pitches are. And I did that ahead of time. You can see that 3 of the samples are G3. So if I play this, if I go over here and I load it into, let's just load it into Logic so you can hear it. Right? So I need to go to a synth that has pitch and yeah, no, let's go initialize everybody and then play. And I can close this and don't save. Don't save. So this first sample is a G. And so I went through and I put at the very end, if it has pitch, like a lot of these don't have pitch, but these vocal samples had pitch. So you go space and then G3, if the pitch is kind of in the middle of the keyboard range, it's not a bass, it's not a high melody type of, then G3, C4, that C4 is the middle C of your keyboard. So these other 3 were actually C4. And so I put C4 as the pitch. If you want, if it's a sharp or a flat, you can go G and then a sharp sign, or you can say small b to make it a flat. So if it was A flat, you'd go A, small b, then 3 or something like that. Or you could go G and then a sharp sign and 3 if you want to make it as a sharp. Omnisphere can tell between the two, right? So these are the drums to add. I would suggest putting everything into one folder that you want to add of your drums. Go through your library, pick out some drum sounds you like. It's good to organize them with names at the very beginning so that you can find them if you want. You don't have to. I do that for these things because they end up being libraries that you all use. And let's say we're going to call this Signs of Additional Life Drums, right? So that will be the name of the folder. I do that to give it. So you go over here. You have to get to the sound sources. Let me check chat real quick. Make sure that you guys are up to get this. What recorder did you use for the recording samples in Signs of the Life? Signs of Life, I'll show you, but I have to move it was this. I was actually using it to prop up my webcam because my other holder broke. It's this. It's the Tascam, the DR100 Mark III. I recorded at 192 kilohertz, wave files, 24-bit audio. And I'll tell you, the sound quality, now that's different. The drum loops that I've been showing you were just recorded inside my computer and stuff like that. But if we were to go here to sample and we were to go to the folder and you go Signs of Life, these sounds are so cool because if you go to something like Everyday Life, because it was at a high sample rate and then I sample rate converted it down, it has so much information that even at 48K, down here and 1, 2, 3 octaves lower it's beautiful. That's the original. Okay. Now, in order to add additional samples, as you can see, I don't have a lot of libraries. And that's because I've gone through to my Steam folder. Actually, let's do this. Go like this. I think I have Steam folder ready to show right here. This is my Steam folder. If you go to Omnisphere, to sound sources, here's the user is where all the samples go, typically. And I have pulled everything out except for the Signs of Life. They're all in this thing called temp. These are all sound source libraries that when I'm done, I might move them back in here to use, but I'd have to quit down Logic for it to have everything get indexed and added. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to work with the Signs of Life libraries. But when you're going to add samples, if you've bought a number of libraries and you've got a fairly decent list when you go over here to user or to sharing, well, user is where you'll really see what's here. So if you just say user, you'll just see what's here. If you have a lot, this process might take a long time, which is totally fine. You don't have to pull things out. If you want to, you can, and then put them back, but you don't have to. What you do is you take this folder, you go over to the sound source browser, and again, that's by hitting A. You're on the sample instead of the synth option, and you hit the little folder, and then you hit user audio right here. There's another quick way to do this. The other way to do this is just hit the granular button, and they now have set it up so if you drag right here, it will also add it. Like if I click right here and let go, it quickly added, in fact, very quickly, the sounds so that when I go back to the sound sources browser, you'll now see that there's an additional folder which has the drums. And those samples, because I put pitch, and those are G3. Now the C4, they're all C because they've been tuned to the same pitch. When I played them inside of ESX24, some had one pitch and others had a different pitch, remember? But now it's transposing the ones that are the G pitches to play at the same pitch as the C pitches. So, and I can confirm this by going to a second oscillator and turning it on. And now you have some cool cheeky little pop vocal lead kind of a thing, right? So it's easy to do that kind of stuff. So there's all sorts of ways to use these samples, right? Obviously, one way would be to make a groove. So let's say we take the kick for oscillator A, and there's, I'm trying to think how tricky I want to get. I think to start, we're not going to be tricky at all. So all I'm going to do is go to the amp, make the release long, go to the ARP and turn it on. And I can go down to the, right here, to the bonus Plugin Guru presets, to the kicks. There's all these bonus drum kick. These are all drum patterns from all sorts of different things that we've released. You could say Deadfall or something. Right? Now, go to multi, turn on stack mode. So we're now playing 4 patches at the same time. And go to part 2. And let's call up the snare. So you go over here to user libraries, find the snare. And now it plays at the same time, right? Let's go over here to the amp, make it ring out long. This is just the most basic of parameters. Go to the ARP, turn it on, and then go down here to the presets, go to the ARP presets and look for snares. And choose a pattern here. And this will happen to now. If I don't like that pattern, I can go back to another. Okay. If I went to part 3 and I went to any of my Plugin Guru libraries that have a BPM at the beginning of the name and added it, that's a triplet feel. That's out there. Here's your 1-finger jar. And it works. Right? So you could stay right there and be done and just hit save multi and save this if you like what it does. If you want to keep adding stuff to it, you could go, let's say we add another groove to this. And let's be tricky with this one. So we're going to go to samples. I know, I make it look so easy, don't I? Additionals. Right here, let's say, turn on the ARP. Now I want to shorten this to just be right. Let's have these all be max velocity. Okay, so no dynamics at this point. So we can make dynamics a lot of different ways. But I'm gonna go to layer B and I'm gonna add a different sample from that. So let's go sharing. Let's use a different one of those bits. Right? That sounds pretty different from, right? Now I want to switch between the two samples. And there's this, it takes a minute for me to sometimes get this right, but you want to have so that a maximum velocity is actually going to push this velocity down in volume. So you say invert max. Right? So when it's a maximum velocity, this layer A, you don't hear it, but you will hear B. And then layer B, we make no velocity sound except for when it's at max velocity. So we say maximum. So we have two layers. One has the volume down, but velocity makes it loud. The other one is loud, but velocity makes it soft because this is inverted. See how I hit the invert button? That inverts it. So now I can go to ARP and let's go have this one be soft in velocity. And 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Let's have just a couple of these throughout, just be different velocities. Right? Let's solo it so you can hear what it's really doing, because and let's tune layer B down. That's cool. And let's have the one that hits every now and then, which is the second sample. Let's have that go through reverb. So go to B on the effects and we turn on a reverb. So it's just for that sample. Oh, it's the wrong one. No, we want to do it to A. So go velocity to reverb. So that's going to make that stick out a little bit more in the mix, right? And if we want to get really crazy, we want to add one more. Well, Stack only lets you use 4 patches to start with, but you have 4 more you can add. You just have to right click and say add part 5, and there it is. So now we can go to part 5, and let's use those vocal bits, right? Let's see if we can play those vocal bits. So let's go to the sample and go over here, say sharing, additional sounds, and turn on the ARP. There it is. And if I was to go over here to the presets, and let's say some melody patch, so let's go like the arrows up and down don't work. I wish they did. If we go to melody and find something else. fun. Let's put a little delay on it. If I transpose everybody. All right, so that is the basics. Once you get the sounds into Omnisphere, they're available for all sorts of experimental, fun things you can do with them. You guys are having a good interest. Add even more grooves. Well, I'm gonna be adding more grooves because the other thing is inside of here. Let's turn off these melody things. Let's go to this second, and instead of that, let's go to sample and check this out. Sharing. I'm not sure if all of these will make it into the final, because when I spit out the library, it spits out only the samples that were used. And if I don't use them, they won't be included. So you only get some of the percussion and stuff. But so I'm adding that to the other kick. This is already in Signs of Life because it's got the graphics to it, right? And the snare, let's go to layer B for the snare. Because you have 4 layers, so you could do all sorts of things. Let's go Signs of Life down here to the snares. Let's solo just part 2 so we can hear the snare. There, that's cool. I can even go to part 4. Let's add an additional sound to this. Let's go to the library. And I have some shakers. So let's add a shaker. So let's go down here to the perk. So let's solo this. Right? That's without it. And then if I wanted to, you could even use things like the synth engine. Go to the noise oscillator, which is really powerful. And it's playing based on the tempo here, right? Of what the arpeggiator is doing. So you can use this. A really good trick to start with is to give yourself a little release. Now to give it a definition, right click and add, and right click to add. So you add some additional segments and you make this short and snappy and then kind of fade down and, oh, we don't need this one. So we'll say. And then you can shape the noise. You can zoom in and see the envelope. You can go back here to this, turn it up. You have all sorts of coloring of the noise. And stereo. You can make it really wide or narrow. You could even like put this in the middle and use an LFO. And then to make it really impressive, do this. Go legato and sync and set it to be like 2 times, which means it's 2 full measures. So it's 1 measure with stereo and then 1 measure without stereo. Now it's segueing smoothly from here in the middle to the right. If you want, you change your LFO shape. If you want it to respond and do different, I want it to be square wave. So it's 100% stereo, no stereo. See, it no longer has a smooth point because the shape of my LFO is different. That's what the LFO shape tells this engine. If I have this to be like this, it's, see how it's slowly going the whole range? That's because that's this shape right here. And you can choose different shapes from mono to stereo. Now, if we wanted to get the filter involved, right? It could start with that, and then this is LFO1. So you'd go over here and right click on the cutoff and say modulate with all sources so you can see LFO1 and listen to this. Now it's gonna also bring up the filter cutoff as it gets wider in stereo. Then it goes back down. It's kind of cool. Now, if you take that and you put that into the mix with everything else, you get this interest harmonic. There's frequencies changing later on in the groove, so it's just not repeating the same thing all the time. Okay, now we're going to get advanced for a minute. So hang on to your seatbelt because we want to now take this. I did suggest a feature request for Omnisphere that we would have the option to have any loops we add to sync with dot tempo built into Omnisphere. It can do that now. You just have to set it up, and you have to know how to set it up. And this library, there's presets you can use as templates to do that. But there's the loop that you want to import has to be, and again, this is outside of the scope of Omnisphere. And so this is in that area where it's like it can do it because the technology is there, but it's, you know, kind of marketed just as a synthesizer. So taking it into this area is different than it was intended. So I don't know if it's something that they would want to make it just an easy thing for drums. I think whatever happens with Stylus in the future is probably going to deal with all those types of issues. So I would think they will keep this probably where it is, and hopefully they're working on Stylus, and we'll see something cool there. But I like drums, and I want to put drums into this stuff there now. So, so we've now got this groove, right? We've got a kick. And if you want to name it, you can go to part 1 and option click here and say kick. And that way it shows up in the list. Let's go to part 2, which is a snare, right? Oh. And say option click on this name and say Monster Ambi Snare. And 4 is vocal hats, right? And that was a melody. So it's these 3 parts 1, parts 2, and parts 4. These 3 patches. That's my groove, right? So I'm going to go over here to the stack mode. And I have some presets already made. The beautifully broken BPM split will split it so that I can now go 1, 2, and 3. I've now layered those. They play on low C, and it sounds like crap. So I have to go to the main page and transpose each one of these up by 2 octaves because I'm playing it 2 octaves lower. There. Now it works. Now the added cool thing that Omnisphere has, it has this live mode where you can switch between patches and latch. So you can play notes and hit latch and it holds them. And then you play the notes again and they stop playing. Well, I use this in a different way. 1, 2, and 4. If I turn on latch, when I play low C, it starts that drum groove and it stays playing it until I play low C again. That's how all the OMG libraries that I've made were created, was using this idea that this latch mode, I'm not latching pads and then changing to another sound to play over the top of a latched pad. I'm using latch to play a drum groove, and then I can do additional things with the drum groove. So cool. Let's go to our mix page. Turn these down just a little bit. Now, I have part 3 that sounds like a bass part, right? So let's go to part 3 and move this down here so it starts right up above that C. And I don't want to latch on this because I can play. And I can play. I can have it do the whole keyboard range if I want. And then I need to go to part 5 and turn it on. Oh, wait. What did I do? Can I undo that? 1, 2. I need to add part 3. Add part. Add part 4. Add part 5. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there, but. So I've got that vocal samples, right? That might be cool to layer something else with it. We could go synth. Or we could say samples. Let's go samples. Let's go to the Signs of Life library because this is for Signs of Life. So we want to do things with all these cool new sounds. Down here's all these pads. That has a lot of brightness. And I'm going to bring down the velocity sensitivity so that this velocity that's dynamic for the melody doesn't affect this other sound quite so much. I want its brightness to be there all the time. And because it's kind of noisy, I'm going to go over to the second filter and turn on high pass filter. And I can choose okay. Oh, bye, Burry. Let's see how that works with that layered. I like it. And then let's maybe add a little delay to it. Different delay than the one in the vocal sounds. Let's say just here. Okay, so you get the idea, right? I'll flush this out and turn it into something. We'll call it BPM split the live stream jam. Yeah, Livestream. Just call it the Livestream. So, let's see, author is yours truly. Created during the June 8th live stream on YouTube. Save. So we'll come back to that. I don't want to bore you guys with all the programming details. You know, it takes hours to get these things to eventually end up being, you know, one of these things where everything's going exactly. Takes a long time, very long time. The work is worth it because these end up being really fun to play and really creative and really fun. So this will be out. What, this is the 6th and this 13th, so it's, I think, in less than a week. Whoo! Yeah, so that will be probably before the next live stream, right? I think on Thursday. So that hopefully shows you how to get drums into Omnisphere and use them in fun, creative ways. If you have any questions, pop them up on the screen. Happy to answer questions. I do have a couple first looks that I want to share with you guys. It's been a busy week for synthesizer companies bringing out new synthesizers. 2 new ones have come out. PhasePlant has been out a little over a week, and that's from KiloHertz. And let's see here. If we got to have this go away and this goes away. This is a synthesizer from, I saw this briefly at a super booth, and it sounded very nice. And I'm finished with dinner already. You know, the crazy thing with doing these live is that, you know, it's nighttime in some places and, you know, it's 12:48 here. So how funny. So PhasePlant is an interesting synth in that this is a company that's been making effects for a while. Instead of calling plugins, they call them plug snaps. And you see them over here. They have all of these different plug snaps. Here, let me show you their website so you can see information on this. KiloHertz. It's right here as their new synthesizer. And so they have, it's a sound designer's dream come true, they call it. Starts with a clean slate. They have these different boxes. And so it depends on what option you want to go with. It starts at $169 for the synth. And then if you want to add, I'm not sure, it includes 3-band EQ, chorus delay, gain limiter, and stereo. So there's no reverb. You get reverb when you go to $199. When you go to $349, you get a whole lot of other effects. So if you want this to come with effects, you have to spend some money. And you can see from the list that I have right now 1 day left on the trial. They're going to send me an NFR so I can do a video showing all the details on how it works. It's a cool synth. It can do wavetables. It can do synthesis of all types. It can have samples. It's got unlimited as far as the number of oscillators you want to have. You can just keep clicking, you know, add more to it and add more filters, add more oscillators. If you want to say add one more, there's another wavetable. Oops, I just added another one. You can say go away and start with a clean slate and start from scratch. And here's your choices: analog, noise, sampler, wavetable, the effects, the groupings. So you can say an analog oscillator. One oscillator has unison modes. And if you click right here, you can add another oscillator. Let's take it down in tuning. Oh, You don't hear it yet because I haven't routed its audio. So you just click right here and say I want it to have an output. You can keep adding as many oscillators as you want. As far as I know, I don't think the sampler is multi-samples. I think it's for a single sample to be loaded across the keyboard. As you can see, they have different things, but they tell you the pitch of it, but it's not multi-sampling as far as I can tell. So it's kind of like Omnisphere in that regards. Some of the patches that it comes with, it has all these different folders, and you can choose, and they have details and so there's a lot happening in this one. As you can see, you can minimize these so that you can see. Down here's your modulations, and again, they don't have limits on how many LFOs or how many anything you have. So here's a whole bunch of LFOs with velocity going into two different lanes. One lane has chorus limiter, the other lane has delay filtering. Right? I believe it's pretty easy. I have not programmed with this, so I'm not going to go in and start showing you how to program with it because I haven't really spent enough time to know how that works. But you can have parameters in the engine, the effects be controlled by LFOs and stuff like that. There's some cool patches in here. There's some other patches that are, okay. But level 8 knows what he's doing. The trap was really cool. We gotta speed this up because it's supposed to be much faster. So it's not 90 beats per minute, but 140. Mod Wheel does some cool things on that one. Future bass sequence with the pitch drops. There's a lot of potential here. So just be aware. These first looks, I'm not endorsing, saying yay, nay, anything. I just want you to know these are out and available and new. So play the filtering on this. Distortion, transient shaper, limiters. Then they have controls here that you can see the intensity, and you can drag your mouse over the top to see what is. So that's controlling the cutoff. Anyway, PhasePlant. It's really interesting design. I kind of wish it had different colors to differentiate the different areas or something. All one color makes it it's a little overwhelming. You have 8 real-time knobs for controlling and programming sounds, and you can see from the little circles, that tells you intensities that things are assigned to different things. And you go, and as you can see, when I go over the top of this, it's highlighting gain, so I can see. So it's doing that, okay? That's cool. The other new synth that has come out this week that is worth taking a look at is this one from Future Audio Works. Future Audio Workshop. This is called Sublab. The nice thing with Sublab is it's pretty powerful. The sound is great. And it's, I believe, retail $70. Right now you can get it for $40 on its introduction price. So this is not one that will break the bank. Right? So it's Future futureaudioworkshop.com. This has a synth engine, a sample, and then it has EQ, harmonic sub, compression, distortion, stuff to work with. It's all about low end. And here's your mixer, so you can easily see there's a sample. So if you go to the sample page, you can actually loop this if you turn on the loop. Got crossfade. So there's a sampler, the synth engine. You've got envelopes for volume, filter, and pitch. Right? So it's got some cool capabilities there with the synth engine, and then the subharmonic is something that will work with, oh. Let's see, it's bringing down. Yeah, so this is a sub oscillator. There's your low, and then here's subharmonics. So if you just want to add those to the existing making this sound really bad, huh? Sampler. Let's choose a different sample. How do we choose a different sample? Right here. Yeah. So we could say, it looks like you can put your own samples in here. So by using the synth sampler and the X sub, there's all these different libraries that it comes with, like 4 or 5 libraries of the DNA volume. It's all about sub basses though, right? It's not really about trying to be a lead. You could use this and you could make lead sounds pretty easily if you wanted to, but that's not its goal. Its goal is to drive the low end pretty hard. So I don't even think it has real-time controllers or anything like that. It's just it's making drum sounds that are in the subcategory, it looks like, and basses. Okay. So if you need some low end sub, I was pretty impressed. Drop your sample here. There you go. Cool. So you can load your own samples into it. So if you need something for low end bass, you know, Omnisphere can do this kind of stuff, but it doesn't have these types of samples in it, or these types of the X sub is really handy for the pure tone versus the harmonic overtones. And you can control how much of the harmonic overtones you add, which is nice. It's cool. So those two synths are new. That is our first look. Are there any questions from you guys on stuff we've covered? I'm going to make this a little bit shorter than my usual ones because I've gone over on some of these things. Bought some glitch machines at $5. Yeah. Guilty as charged. I just bought Sector. Yeah, there's so many discounts on plugins and stuff. If you can get out there, but you have, yeah. Yeah, if you only have one Omnisphere, is hard to beat. Yeah, careful of the no-brainers, although it's nice. Yes, we all are guilty of seeing some sale on something and going, oh, only $10. I gotta get it, right? But this just came out. It's not $10, but it's at a pretty decent price. Are you going to have to update your contact libraries for 6? I don't have to update the libraries for 6. They work in 6. Everything is compatible from 5 to 6. There's some stuff to work on as far as maybe looking at NKS for the libraries in the future, stuff like that. It's a lot to figure out when they keep adding new features to these things and stuff like that. Keep talking while playing the deep sub and record it. You sound cool. Oh, so we're gonna be at Space Sound. It's gonna be like really cool, and we're gonna have it really big and really bad, but it's gonna be like that. So you can have these bass sounds that are just gonna take your head off and make it really. Everybody wants to go out and have a good time with big bass, 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 big bass, bass. It's big bass, bass. It's big bass, bass. Yeah. So, yes, I know. Just put it into K6. Yeah. It will work inside of Contact 6, even though it was designed in Contact 5. Actually, part of it was designed in Contact 4. And then 5 and 6, as they kept updating and adding features. No, I think it was 5. It came out first for 5, and then they've just gone to Contact 6. Just a little side note on yours truly. I do have a sale happening for a couple more days at the site. This is the Finish That Song Summer Sale. And it's not one of these no-brainers, but it's a nice discount. It's automatically applied. You don't need a promo code. Although I think did I put it? I said applied automatically, so maybe I should make sure that I have it applying automatically, because I might not. Oh my gosh. It's just so crazy, just owning your own business and trying to manage everything. It's crazy. We do the best we can. All right, well, thank you for joining and hanging out, and I hope this gave you some ideas on getting drum sounds into Omnisphere. Less than a week, and Signs of Life will be out. Can't wait for it to come out and get into everybody's hands. And I appreciate and thank you in advance for your support. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. And be well to yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Okay? Oh, shout outs. We should do shout outs. We gotta do local shout outs. Shout out from PDX. Oh, one last thing. If you guys play video games, anybody else here play video games ever? Never? You guys don't ever play video games? Interesting. Well, there's a game that I like to play called 8-Ball Pool. And I started a club called Plugin Guru. So if you go searching, you can find the Plugin Guru Club, and you get to play 8-ball, 9-ball. You're playing against other live people. It's harder on the phone. It's better on an iPad. You have more control over the queue. I think I have earned to date something like, let's see here. I've played this a lot. When I need to take a break, and sometimes this is where I enjoy playing. I don't know what it's billions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars. You just bid high, win a few games, gets the stuff going. But join the Plugin Guru Club if you want to, and we can chat. You can chat from in there and all that kind of stuff. Oh, we got the shout outs. So Norway, we got Shane in Ontario, Canada, Clinton in Nicaragua, Camus, Washington, Olympia, UK, in Florida for Greg. Good to see you, man. Shout out from Munich, Bavaria. Yeah, thank you, Harold. Everybody have a great week. Thanks for joining. Next week we'll do all through. Wait till you hear what we've done to all the patches have been all messed up. So can't wait till you hear what we did. All right. So I'll see you later. Be well. Bye. Yes.